Wild hedges need to be cut in the autumn or the winter when the trees are dormant and the birds aren't nesting, and you can't cut them properly apart from between October and April. However, in the summer, all this side growth can be cut off because it gets kind of in the way. This is like the main path. Sometimes when I get a vehicle down here, and one day it'll be a little road, but want to sort of keep it cut back to about here. I've got long handle cutters just in case I come across any big branches, but I might not need them, so just carry them around a bit as well. And I just use the shears and just start at the bottom and just like work upwards. And just cut up so far. I don't need to go all the way up. In the autumn, winter, I'll cut them down to like 7 feet high from the highest side, which is the other side from here. So from this side, this hedge is quite tall. I'll just cut that off and make sure any kind of overhanging brambles and anything come off as well. And it's quite quick, really. Just like each bit's quite big. So you can see you get a nice little hedge on the side here, but that won't affect any nesting birds or anything. It just sort of trims it up so we can get down here, and it just makes it look really neat and tidy. And sort of brambles and things and dog roses, anything that's like growing onto the path, and just put them in a little pile like that and just work along like this, and just looks nicer already. Occasionally I come across the odd branch that's too big for the shears, so I just use the long handle cutters for them. But yeah, mostly it's the shears, and it's pretty quick, really. Just go through and chop them all off. So clearing along this way, and as I come along, I start at the bottom here like this, and just work my way up like that. Here, this hornbeam has grown loads over the road here, over the path. So that's going to be taken back to something like that. And there's not as much at the top, and as I go further up, there's more. There's quite a few bigger branches here. I must have forgotten to do this bit last year. There's a really big one there. But most of it's quite small and able to be done with the shears. It's look totally different when this is gone. Hornbeam's a brilliant hedge plant. It's just such a thick plant, and it keeps the leaves in the winter, the dried leaves, so it's a screen all year round. A bit like beech. So a hornbeam hedge is a really good screen all year round. So that's like all you really need to do for the summer. Just a quick tidy up so it's not all hanging over. You don't need to do the higher bit, just along like this. It's very important to cut off these long sort of growths of brambles, because when these end bits reach the ground, they root in and form a new bramble plant. So just cutting them off prevents that from happening, although they will grow more shoots. And that's that bit done just in a couple of minutes with the shears. I always prefer to use shears and those things, because they just make you rattle, you know, you go, the rest of the day. And also, by the time you've unravelled the whole electric cutters or petrol cutters and everything and carried them and everything, you could have got it done with the shears. It's just so much easier with the shears. And I always prefer to use shears, because I just find it much easier, really. Yeah, that's all that little bit done there. And now I get on to do some woodland paths. Here I focus on some of these overhead ones that are just sort of a bit close to my head, especially when they're prickly like this hawthorn, and brambles so they don't spread and root into the ground. I'll probably dig these up properly at some time, but for now just trim them and just cut them right back, so all this bit above ground will die. It's very good to do this in dry weather so none of these bits of bramble can root in, because sometimes they can do that. Dry weather they've got no chance. Just cut these off so I don't get prickled when I walk through here. And it just means they've got a path again. So a lovely clump of woodland here, which is a really nice woodland plant. Very good for cuts and bruises and things, and you can eat it as well, but it doesn't taste very nice. The flowers are quite nice though. Yeah, the flowers are nice, but the plant tastes revolting, but you can cook it and it's nicer if you cook it. So that was really quick. Now I can walk down this section of path again without getting lots of wet branches in my face and lots of prickles and things. And it's all nice and clear that I can walk up now. I tend to leave the ferns, even though they're going right over the path. They just look so nice and it's not a problem just to go past them. But the holly is really prickly, so I cut that right back. Because that's quite uncomfortable to have holly prickles when you walk down the path. And holly is really good as a hedging plant. It responds really well to pruning. Quite a lot of it here really. But just take it back to up there and up there in these overhanging bits, like that one off, and then a bit further back, and I can get past it really easily then. So that's better, I can easily get past here now. Here these long bramble shoots have almost reached the ground, and these ones are trailing against the ground, and what they do is they bury the little end bit in and then they form another plant, so make sure they're all cut off. But brambles do have quite shallow roots and they're quite easy to dig up. Their weakness is how shallow the roots are. Just under the ground you've got like a ball of roots and it's so easy to dig up, but today I'm just focusing on cutting them back so I can reopen all of the footpaths. Here there's hazel, there's grown a bit over the path, so that can come back a bit. Don't take too much of it. And there's a big bramble there, cut them off. And just working up here, and that's like much nicer. I can walk down here comfortably then. The time where the undergrowth is the worst, when it needs cutting back the most, is when the woods are quite new. And here on this like newer section, there's loads of brambles and undergrowth, which is all trying to grow in. It's still getting light and the canopy's not properly developed. But when I get in here, there's very little bramble because there's the big tree here and the much more established woodland. So here there's just the odd little bit, and the canopy's already up there, so there's really very little to do ever in this bit. And just go and do the odd little bit, and every year as the trees get more established and the canopy's bigger, there's much less brambles every year. So it's not something that's going to be there forever, as long as you've got a nice thick canopy. But cutting them right back as far as you can, these brambles, really weakens them. And they all come with long stems from the ground. We just get one up. You can see that this is the bramble root, and that's it basically. There's only that far under the ground, so that's now a dead bramble. So if you actually get them and dig them up, they actually are pretty small, and the root isn't actually prickly. Get this one up as well. You see that one's not come up with the whole root, but you can just get an idea of how shallow they are. But really I like to do that as a separate job with a spade or something, but that's just to show you. And here, very little here at all. Just a few bits of holly. I mean, holly does grow well under trees, but it just needs a little trim back like that. Brambles cut back, dog roses cut back, and that's really all you need here. Here this rowan tree is leaning over the path a bit, but I don't want to cut that off, it's doing so well. So I just cut a few of these little branches off here. Do that one. And then under canopy trees like this field maple just grow really well under trees. So just trim that back. Just needs a trim like once or twice a year. Just all this gangly growth. And Some of these bits I'll just put in here to rot, other ones I'll collect up and put on a bonfire later. But a lot of them could just go in there and feed the woods. There's a few bits there. Again, I take it up to just higher than me. I don't think I'm going to need the long handle cutter to that branch. Just take that one off there and maybe bung that somewhere. And that's just a few more bits here. There's a big hanging bit of bramble there. Take that off there. Take it back to the base there. That one and there. And leave that. And now I can get through here really easily, and this path is now open. Every so often there's little patches of wild strawberries, little woodland snacks, and they're really small but they're much sweeter than normal strawberries. And they're just gorgeous. They spread really well, grow really well in hedges and woodlands, sort of dry sunny banks usually inside the woods. When I say sunny I mean they're self-facing, still covered by canopy, but places that get sun in the winter and spring, like here, very dry, this narrow bit here, and the south's over there, so it's kind of getting a lot of sunlight here. And the wild strawberries flourish here, so it's really nice to have a little snack when you're busy and cutting branches and things. Hazel branches do have a habit of falling outwards, so occasionally you need to kind of remove a large one. But there's little steps here, and this is getting a bit overgrown here. I just trim all them off. Because hazel is another under canopy tree, so it grows really well under trees. So it's one of the ones you'll always have to keep pruning. And then here, there's little steps now reopened. A bit of bramble off there. That big bramble shoot there. That's good. Oh, and that, and this, that. So opening out this bit where this other path comes off. This is a silver-leaf lime which tends to weep a bit, so it sort of hangs down a bit. There's a wild pear there which is really, really prickly, and you don't want one of them getting in your face. The thorns are huge. Just here, big bramble there, a bit more lime tree off there, and trees don't mind being trimmed usually. They just grow from where they're trimmed. Whenever I come across a nice place to sit, it's nice to have a little sit down and recharge my batteries and pick any thorns out of my hand. Got a few of those. There you Yazzie. And there's another little woodland snack over here. Just over here, ooh, this is like a little wooded island here, and it's totally infested with wild raspberries. There's just hundreds of them here, and I just put them in here when I planted the woods here, and they've taken over the whole island, and they're just gorgeous, so sweet, and such a nice red colour as well. They're really, really gorgeous. There are millions of them, especially when you look from underneath. The raspberries, these wild raspberries and the wild strawberries are just a really good like woodland food, a woodland crop, and you get just as many of this as you would from ordinary raspberries. And they do differ a lot. Different wild raspberries are really different, and these ones are just gorgeous. There's just so many of them, and they're like kind of like the cultivated summer raspberries. They are here for July really. A bit of stalk on that one. But they are very, very sweet, and it's a good year for them this year. But they're not there for long, they'll be finished soon. So I'll make the most of them whilst they're here. There's loads and loads of them. And just sit here, recharge my batteries, just eat a load of raspberries. And that's just really, really nice. I don't really need to do any cutting on the island here. It's just want it to be as wild as possible. So it's really just the edges and the footpaths and things. So this can just still stay hanging over the water over here, that's fine. Just like nice and wild, that's how I wanted it. And just make the most of these raspberries off it, it's gorgeous. This path's like half established woodland. It's not so hard to do as it used to be. It used to be quite a long job cutting through brambles and this here, but now it's fairly nice and established. just go above my head a bit, because when it rains a lot of these branches get weighed down and then you suddenly got a blocked path, so it's nice to just go maybe 2 feet above your head. That one, particularly if they're prickly branches, and that's nice and open now. And in here it looks worse than it is. It's mostly just brambles and dog rows, but it doesn't take just long just to open the path, just a few minutes really, not even that. And another little woodland snack here, the herb Robert. You can eat the leaves and the flowers, but the flowers are nice, the leaves are horrible. Really, really nice, and loads of herbal uses as well. Mostly the leaves are very good for as an antiseptic if you cut yourself. Dog roses were really nice this year when they flowered. They've got a few little hips forming now. Just see here, little rose hips forming. Broom, silver birch tree. Some of these herbaceous plants are cut down as well, but really I'm focusing on the shrubs and the brambles and the trees. Here there's loads of this betony starting to flower, which is really nice. You can eat this as well, but it doesn't taste very nice. And there's some flowers of it coming out here, and it's really nice. And loads more wild strawberries in here, just bigger ones, these ones. And again, this is like a kind of a dry bank. We kind of like these dry banks, and it's really nice to sort of come across these wild strawberries. Well, here's some nice ones. Some nice red ones there. They're much smaller than normal strawberries, but they're way sweeter. Oh, it's gorgeous. And these betonies here are much more out. And these ones, really nice colourful plant, grows in woodland and hedges. Loads of herbal uses, you can eat it. And it's all these were just planted from little rooted bits, like herbaceous plants. They grow in these clumps, and they're a really colourful woodland plant in the summer. Really, really nice, really bright purple flowers. But they do come in different colours. Sometimes you get whites and pinks and things. But these are gorgeous. Really nice woodland plant. I just neatly get some of these long brambly bits out of the betony here, and that one without cutting any betony. And I just come along here and cut all these overhanging bits of plants off from here. And that's nice, just so I can get through it really. There's a nasty big bit of bramble. Just stick that there, it'll die and rot. And these hawthorns are very prickly. Yes, all these bits here. Just careful to avoid the betony. More of this wild pear, which sometimes tends to weep a bit as well. It's good to cut this back. It is again really, really prickly, and it does respond really well to pruning. It's a beautiful tree. The fruit are pretty grim though, but the birds like them. And here, of course, looks pretty overgrown, but it's really just a little bit. Some docks there, and cutting back, and a few bits of hawthorn. But it doesn't take much just to reopen the path here. Now it's the big bramble there. Now look at the thorns on that. That's horrible. But you can dry and dye on there, and I don't need to carry it off anywhere. And doesn't matter about these little bits of plants and things here. Just overhanging bits. There's a bramble shoot there. Yeah, just tied it up really, so that I can walk through it comfortably. Some of these big overhanging bits here. That's really nice. So you can see how quick it actually is to do, and what a performance it would be with the electric cutters or the petrol cutters. It's just much easier, and you don't disturb all your neighbours as well. Because they do make a horrible noise, those electric cutters or the petrol cutters, and these don't make any kind of offensive noise at all. Another one there, cut with those. Oh, that can get lobbed in there. Another big one there. That should do. That just nicely opens this bit of footpath. But these plants here, I'm going to leave those because they're nice valerians and they're a really nice wild plant. They have these flowers like this, and these little divided leaves like that. Valerian is a perennial plant, and it can grow in woodland, in swamps, in sunny grassland. It seems to be able to grow anywhere, dry, wet. We'll just get some of these overhanging hazel branches off here. What I'll do is I'll cut the valerian off when it's finished flowering. The roots have loads of medicinal uses. They're good for sleep and nervous problems, things like that. Yeah, just a few more of these overhanging ones, and that should do it for this little bit here. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Lob that over there. Ooh. So on these sunny hedges you get tons and tons of brambles and these long bits of dog rose which can all root into the ground and grow, and you really don't want them to do that. So it's just the same thing, cutting them all right back and just do the sides of the hedge and work along doing that really. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and if you press the little me which is somewhere down there, you can see all my other videos, and I shall see you next time.